Men and women all over the globe are joining now for the best videos on the internet.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
And I'm doing my part too.
They're doing their part. Are you? Click the subscribe button now to become a member of the Action Pack. Would you like to know more?
Hello everyone and welcome. We have a question for you today. Did you love that hit 80s movie featuring the ghost with the most? Because he's back, baby. I'm Mike, and with me today is...
Tommy Boy.
And this is Mike's After Action Reviews, and this is the After Action Review for Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. All right, guys, so as always, I have my notes, we have our guest, and the new thing that you guys can't see, but I can, is floating right over Tommy's face, is my clock to keep things on time. We're trying to get this done in between 45 and 50 minutes, and once we add in all the extra stuff, it'll be about an hour or less. But we are going to start with the movie's production. So running through this very quickly, there were 3 production companies. There were actually more, but these were like the big 3, and then I think the other ones that after you get through the top 3, it's like associates and like, oh, we collaborated or whatever, but it's not actually real control. But anyway, okay, so the big one, Warner Bros. Okay, they are most well known for Beetlejuice in 1988 and most recently did Trap from 2024. Then we have French Film Company, which only made one other movie called Africa Speaks in 1930. They have been on a long hiatus from doing anything. They have done nothing except Africa Speaks. They're making a comeback. Then we've got Plan, yeah, and they were the second named production company. So they,
Wow.
Yeah, their executive producer is Dracula. Anyways, yeah, he's been alive all this time. He's just taking a nap. Anyway, Plan B Entertainment, most well known for The Departed from 2006, which was a great movie, and Bob Marley One Love from... I wrote 2024, but I meant 2024. Bob Marley One Love, never saw it. I don't think it made a huge amount of money either. It was probably like a smaller production budget as well. Trap, I was kind of from Warner Bros. Trap earlier this year in 2024. I'm kind of hyped for. I haven't watched it yet. I haven't heard anything about it yet because I'm going to do the action update. And we're going to talk about the box office numbers. Never heard of Africa Speaks. So I know nothing about Plan B Entertainment other than The Departed, which was a great movie. So that sounds good. Warner Bros. Sounds good as far as production value and producers and stuff. And then Africa Speaks, our French Film Company, nothing with that. So solid so far, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's good. That's starting off right. Then we have the writers. So there were like 4 or 5 writers. We're going to do the top 3. So Alfred, and then the last name is Go. Like it's spelled like Van Gogh. So Gough. So I think it's Go. So Alfred Go. Most well known for Smallville, which was a series running from 2001 to 2017. It was about Superman before he becomes Superman like we know him. And then also most recently did Wednesday, which was a series from 2022. It was a Netflix series, very good, so that was nice. Miles Miller, he did Smallville and Wednesday as well. And then we had Seth Graham Smith, who's most well known for the Lego Batman movie from 2017. And then also, so aside from this movie and Batman, the Lego Batman movie, he did Pride and Prejudice and Zombies from 2016, which I know nothing about except that it's obviously Pride and Prejudice but there's zombies, and it's supposed to be like an action comedy. But I know that, and I know that Charles Dance is in it. And Charles Dance, if you don't know, is Tywin from Game of Thrones. So that's pretty cool. And I didn't see the Lego Batman movie, but I heard that it was good. So I'm going to say that the writing room here. Good. Yeah, right. Okay. So writing room is looking solid so far. No red flags on my part from me so far. So I'm liking this. Okay. Then we have the director, who is Tim Burton, most well known for Edward Scissorhands from 1990. And then most recently did Wednesday, which was the series in 2022. Now, I will say this. I don't know Tim Burton most for Edward Scissorhands. I would say that it's like Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah.
He did the original Beetlejuice too.
Yeah, like Beetlejuice. Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Edward Scissorhands is honestly one that I see from like Corpse Bride. Sleepy Hollow. Edward Scissorhands to me is actually probably like to me, and I might be wrong. Get all mad and tell me about it in the comment section down below. But it's probably like his least famous movie. Like for me, like to me, that's the one that I think of probably last. Not that it was a bad movie. It's just one that it wasn't like some big cultural zeitgeist for me. Or Batman, I liked it. I like Batman. Seriously, why is Batman not his? Yeah. All of these listings are from IMDb. So take it up with IMDb if you disagree with me, or disagree with this. And then if you agree with me about how Edward Scissorhands isn't the most famous, definitely take it up with IMDb. Okay, so then the music was by Danny Elfman. Most well known for The Nightmare Before Christmas from 1993, and then most recently did a movie called Bloody Bridget, which I looked at it and it looks like it is a low budget film, but that came out earlier in 2024. I like Danny Elfman. He's got a bunch of great music.
Oh yeah.
And stuff like that behind it. So let me just ask you, just in general, before we get into anything, what did you think of? I guess so. We usually don't do this. We usually just kind of run through these guys, but I'm say whether they look good or not. But I mean, just not getting into plot or any of the things we're going to cover. But like, what did you think of the writing? What did you think of the production value? What did you think of? I don't know if you could necessarily tell like the directing. Like, what did you think of the production? Like,
yeah, I think it was good. I think it went well. Went pretty smooth. On top of that, the music, I enjoyed the music on this one. Loved the music, especially some of the we'll talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah, the music is a big one. So for me, and I really appreciate you saying that. Would you say that this is good? Like it was good, and I had because basically it's like if it's good, you have no complaints, but you don't necessarily remember it. Or was it bad to where you remember that it was bad, or was it excellent to where like I'm gonna remember the soundtrack from this movie?
I'd say excellent, because there's a few good solos in there that was really hit the spot.
Like you're gonna remember that. You're gonna remember those. Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna say like good, where it was good. I have no complaints. I'm probably like if you started playing one of the songs that wasn't the original Beetlejuice song, I'm probably not going to be able to pick out and go, "Oh, that's the theme from Beetlejuice 2."
Yeah.
But I still think that it was good. But that might just be me. It's like I always compare it to Lord of the Rings, though. As soon as anybody hears bum bum ba ba bum ba ba bum, you're like, "Oh, that's Lord of the Rings." That's how you know. That's how you know what is like. I remember that, but I thought the music was great, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, I don't think that if you started playing it for me a year from now, I'd be like, oh yeah, Beetlejuice 2. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what we got for production. Production looked good. We both agree on that, and I think that that's great. I think that there's some really great talent behind the making of this thing. Let's see, and great talent in the potential for how it could do. Let's talk about how it actually did do in its execution. But before we get into that, guys, here at Mike's After Action Reviews, we have sponsors. Make sure to support them, and you're supporting the pack, the Action Pack. Here is a message from one of those sponsors. Right now, we will see you guys after this message is over. The Action Pack needs you. You can support Mike's After Action Reviews on our Patreon for as little as $3 a month. Every quarter, once we've made at least $200, we're going to be giving away 10% of our earnings from Patreon in a giveaway over on our Twitch, so go check that out as well. You can find all of the links for everything in the description and in the pinned comment down below. Do your part. Support the pack. The Action Pack. All right, that was a really bad transition. I kind of stumbled all over the words I was saying introducing that sponsor. So, but anyway, yeah, please support our sponsors, guys. Okay, but moving on into the movie's plot. So just starting off, the runtime for the movie is an hour and 32 minutes, which is very clean. Like, you'd think that'd be a little bit more, a little longer, but it's like 92 minutes. Very good. It seems like, and it seems like it's packed with so much content, like in a good way, where it's like there was a lot of story that they got through here. But it's like they knew exactly what they wanted to tell. They didn't waste any time, and they made it all effective, in my opinion, as far as trying to just the writing of trying to tell the plot. Okay. So IMDb plot summary, there were two, but they were basically one, and then the other one was that one plus some more sentences. So I'm only going to read the second one. So here is the IMDb plot summary. After an unexpected family tragedy, 3 generations of Dietz family return home to Winter River. Still haunted by Beetlejuice, Lydia's life is turned upside down when her rebellious teenage daughter, Astrid, discovers the mysterious model of the town in the attic, and the portal to the afterlife is accidentally opened. With trouble brewing in both realms, it's only a matter of time until someone says Beetlejuice's name 3 times, and the mischievous demon returns to unleash his very own brand of mayhem. Okay, I actually just want to mention something before we even get into this. Tommy Boy, you asked me in the beginning before we get started, is he a ghost or is he a demon? I think that in the lore of this is that a demon would be a ghost. Maybe it's that not all ghosts are demons, but not all demons... Sorry, all demons are ghosts, but not all ghosts are demons. Maybe it's like that. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm not sure. It doesn't get specifically into it, but I was thinking about that because it specifically says that he is a demon. But he also says, I'm a ghost. I'm the ghost. I'm the ghost with the most, Okay, so yeah, what did you think of the plot summary? Is there things that it left out? Okay, so no spoilers, obviously. But as far as
like
it's
plot summary, like it was right on point, definitely. Yeah, okay. Definitely.
I will say, so some of the notes that I have. Okay, so some of the notes that I have is that Charles Dietz. So this is no spoiler. It's like a light spoiler, I guess, but it's right in the beginning of the movie. The dad, Lydia's dad, Lydia being Winona Ryder, her dad, Charles Dietz, who is played by his name, Jeffrey Jones. Jeffrey Jones. So I had it written down here. But his death is what brings all of the Dietzes back to Winter River, for the funeral and all of that. So, I'm going to get into stuff with that character at the end, so we'll leave that from the miscellaneous section. So there is one major plot line that I could have been completely removed. Just from the plot, as far as the story, there's probably one that could be completely removed, and the movie would move on like normal. Now, I will tell you, I did like this movie. How much I liked it, we're going to get into in the end, but I did like this movie, so that should tell you that it could be removed, okay, but I don't think that plot line being in the movie hurt the movie
vital for it. Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, but it just wasn't effective. Like it didn't do anything, so it's like you could have just removed that. I think that probably if they would have, I think this movie was like 15 minutes, just under. I think it was like I think it actually was 13 minutes longer than the original. If they would have removed that plot line, this movie probably would have been almost exactly the same length as the original movie. And maybe they needed more time, so they kept it in. Like at some point, I'm not sure if they like removed scenes but left some.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like maybe this was a 2-hour movie and they said, well, let's cut it down. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
Now the final product is you've cut it down so much you could have cut it out completely.
I'd agree with that. Like, I wonder if there was cut scenes, like some more interactions with this plot line.
Whole thing.
Oh yeah.
No spoilers.
Yeah,
but people who've seen the movie will know.
Yeah, I know. That would have helped out a lot with it. That would have helped out a lot.
Yeah, if they remove it completely.
Hopefully there's an uncut Tim Burton version that'll come out eventually.
Right, and it actually seems like this might have been. So it didn't. If it was studio interference or whatever, I think it was probably the least hurtful studio interference ever in this way, because it's like the plot line being there didn't hurt the movie, but it just didn't do anything. It's like it's like having a sixth finger. Like it's not that doesn't help you, but it's not like in your way or anything. Okay, so there's that. One thing that I did like is how they have some world building here, and it actually made me have an interesting idea that I want to get into. But so we have world building. Like there's more beyond that office building that we see in the first movie where they help the newly dead people.
Yeah.
For instance, there's like the afterlife police. There's the train station. Yep. I loved that. So he's not going to be in the characters enacted, but Willem Dafoe is in it, and he plays as the police guy. So he's really good.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. They get into the rules of the book, the handbook for the recently deceased, and some more like magic that can happen because of that, some different ways that you can do certain things. And they also they introduce us to the idea of the great beyond, which is like moving on into the afterlife. So basically when you die and you go to like where Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin, before he shot somebody and killed them, where they went in the first movie, that is the afterlife, but it's not the great beyond. It's not actually where you're going to end up. It's just like where you are before you go to either heaven or hell. Okay, so so we get a little bit of that, and this actually made me think to myself, what would be really cool is if they had the first. They did. That's what I'm saying. So it's like you're in the afterlife, and then after you've been in the afterlife for a certain period of time, you go to either heaven or hell. So yeah. But I was saying that it would be cool. So they did Beetlejuice, first movie. Second movie, Beetlejuice. They're getting too old. Or sorry, Beetlejuice. The third movie should be Beetlejuice, which would be. We talked about some different ideas, but if they don't ever do that because the cast is getting old, let's just say that they decide not to do that because they need to do it with Michael Keaton. They cannot. Yeah. They cannot end off the series with a recast Beetlejuice. Yeah. But with the way that they did the world building, it made me think of like, wouldn't it be cool if they did a series with characters, not Beetlejuice, but just characters in the afterlife? Yeah. Like and then it's just like people because people live their lives in the afterlife. Like they have lives there. So it's like, this seems like an interesting world. The world building gave me a little bit of a hunger for. It'd be interesting to see more of this afterlife. Like, show me what this whole thing is about. Yeah. I don't know. It's just an interesting idea. I don't know how effective it would be. It's just like a little idea. And then my last thing for the plot, my last little note for the plot is what happened to the Maitlands, which is Gina Davis and pre-murder Alec Baldwin. And that was because Alec Baldwin shot somebody and killed them.
Wonder where he went.
Exactly. Well, it was a lady. I don't know if you heard about that. Alec Baldwin did shoot someone.
Yeah, it was on set, wasn't it? With a
it was an accident. So, so what happened to the Maitlands? And that it was kind of answered very quickly. No spoilers, but it was answered very quickly and was kind of a throwaway line because Gina Davis is too old. You're not supposed to age in the afterlife. And so Beetlejuice worked because they put makeup on him and he didn't, you can kind of accept it. But Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin, they do not look like they did back in the day before Alec Baldwin shot that lady. So we can't go back to that time. This is going to be this review's running joke. So we can't go back to that time, so it makes sense for them to say, let's just get rid of their idea in the story because they go to the same house where they're stuck because the Maitlands are stuck in that house. So,
Yep.
anything that you have to say about just the plot?
No, like we think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah. Well, actually, one last thing I will say is that just like in the first movie wasn't the type of movie where anybody really went on a quest. You know, it was just kind of these people. They're there. They interact with each other. They decide to get along, and then the movie goes on, and then life goes on, and the movie ends. Okay, here is kind of the same idea. Like people are coming together for this funeral. Some interesting, weird, peculiar stuff happens, and then the movie, you know, that interesting, peculiar stuff gets resolved, and the movie's done. There's no like, I need to save the world. I need to save my family. I need to go do a big thing. It's like there's not an overarching narrative that's that way. It's just, I got here, this thing happened, now I have to deal with that. Then another thing happens and I have to deal with that. Does that make sense? Maybe I'm articulating that in a weird way. But a lot of movies are that way. This movie, and we're going to move on to characters and acting now, but this movie, it really, it's really the characters interacting with each other in a fun way that makes the movie really work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, okay, well then if you got nothing else to say then about it, that's great, awesome. Let's move on to characters and acting. Before we do that, guys, check out this message from our sponsor. I love my awesome Support the Troops Stormtrooper mug. Do you know where you can get a mug just like this one, but different? Bottega Krua. Bottega Krua is an Italian born and raised artisan trained at the Academy of Fine Arts in Venice, Italy. Since 2010, Bottega Krua has offered unique handmade and hand-painted ceramics, pottery, and other artistic products. You can find these products at her Etsy store by following the link down below. She also takes custom orders, but they may take longer to ship because she has to make them after you order them. So, go check out Bottega Krua to get yourself an awesome mug just like this one, or the ones you've been seeing behind me as this ad has been going on. Remember, guys, supporting our partners is supporting the pack, the Action Pack. All right, so moving on to characters and acting, if Tommy Boy can hold it together here for just a little while longer. So we do the top 5. There are some other ones like Willem Dafoe. We're not going to get into him specifically, but Willem Dafoe was in this, and then there's that one guy from the movie Your Majesty, or Your Highness, who was the bad guy, but I can't remember his name right now. But we're going to get into the top 5 here. So starting from the top.
He was from Your Highness?
Yeah, he was from Your Highness. Yeah. He's been in a lot of stuff. That's Winona Ryder's boyfriend, Lydia's boyfriend in the movie. And no, we won't get into anything really with that character because he's kind of a side character. But okay, So starting off, we have Beetlejuice. He's played by Michael Keaton. He is most well known for Birdman or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance from 2014. And he most recently did Knox Goes Away from 2023. Now, I will tell you again, IMDb says that he's most well known for the Birdman movie, so the title is Birdman or the Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. I know him most well for Batman.
Yeah.
Maybe, like Duplicity, Mr. Mom, different movies like that. Okay, so that's one thing. Okay, and then we have Lydia Dietz, played by Winona Ryder, most well known for Little Women in 1994, and then did Haunted Mansion in 2023. And then we have Delia Dietz, played by Catherine O'Hara. This is Winona, like Lydia's mom. And she's most well known for A Mighty Wind in 2003, and then most recently did Argylle in 2024. And then Astrid Dietz, played by Jenna Ortega, most well known for Wednesday from 2022, and then most recently did Winter, Spring, Summer, or Fall in 2024. And then we have Dolores, played by Monica Bellucci, most well known for Malena in 2000. And I'm going to tell you, I talked to Tommy Boy about this. I'm not going to say it here in the video, but if you want to see some weirdness, she's most well known for that movie Malena. Go check out what that movie's about, because I did for the research for this review, and Monica. Tell you what. Okay, so and then anyway, most recently did Dear Paris in 2024. So anything that you have, so that's our cast. I think that a bunch of great actors. Again, I said like Willem Dafoe, Danny DeVito's in the movie as well.
Yeah.
But these are our top 5 here. Anything that you really, I'll start off just by saying like the acting is what really made this movie. Like good writing too. But I just mean like the writing and acting, obviously you could kind of walk hand in hand.
Yeah,
with the great acting.
The acting and interactions with each other, how they connected and just worked. They worked perfectly together. Like it was, it was great.
Yeah. I think that a good way to sum up what I was saying too before when I was talking about the plot and when it comes to the acting is that there wasn't a character who had like an objective to really do anything. It was just the characters interacting amongst themselves. Nobody had like a big goal to, like in war movies, I need to go and destroy this thing or hurt the, take over this territory. Or in like Game of Thrones, it's I need to get the throne.
Monica had an objective.
Right. Well, yes, but that wasn't the summation. That wasn't like the whole movie wasn't revolving around that. Yeah. The whole movie was really revolving around like I came to town and this guy came and talked to me and he was a little bit of a weirdo, so now I got to deal with this weirdo. And then like and then the next day my neighbor started acting weird, so then I had to deal with his stuff. And then the end of the movie is like, well, I dealt with all of those things and I guess life's just that way. And then the movie ends and it was a great time because we got to see all this goofy stuff, but it wasn't like we're the Power Rangers and we need to beat that guy. Or anyway, people will know what I mean. Okay, so anything that you want to say about just any of the characters or acting in general? We don't.
It's a shame Willem Dafoe didn't get a bigger shout out because, like, he did. His part in this was just a perfect addition to this movie. Like, it was. I loved him.
Not a lot of screen time. So we can talk about other characters and stuff. These are the big 5 that I mentioned, but not a lot of screen time for Willem Dafoe. But he really did. He basically did like a. It was a more than a cameo. But it was just he very well utilized his time. I'll tell you what. So the biggest guy, actually, to tell you the truth, the biggest guy other than Willem Dafoe was Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice isn't the main character, but just Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice is so cool. Just so you guys, Beetlejuice now manages, /owns some kind of ghost call center.
Yeah.
And so he's no longer in the spook business of scaring people, like scaring the living out of the homes of the dead. But so that's kind of cool. But he just does such a great job. He's basically, it's so interesting how after all this time, Michael Keaton was really able to just jump right back in,
Yep.
I think that a big thing, so kind of going in order of what I thought was kind of cool here was, I think that Monica Bellucci's character Dolores had a really cool character intro. Yeah, I did like, I won't spoil it for you guys, because if you haven't seen it yet, go see the movie, or if you're going to see it on streaming, go see it on streaming. But her character was really underutilized, honestly. I don't want to spoil anything or get too much into it, but character was underutilized. I would have liked to see more of her, because I think that Monica Bellucci is she is a good actress. She's also, honestly, let's be real here. She's a very beautiful woman, and I imagine that she is a good actress, and I imagine that she was actually quite expensive to have in the movie, so I wonder why they didn't use her more. We talked about, possibly, did they cut scenes out of the movie, and then, like, in the end, they were like, okay, cut it back, and then they just, I think that there was more that they could have done with that character, and maybe it was just missing, and maybe we'll get, like, a Tim Burton director's cut someday. That's like 2 hours
that'd be
long.
nice.
Yeah. Some interesting stuff just in general with characters and acting is so Lydia, we see in the first movie, she can see ghosts. That is Winona Ryder's character. And now she has this ghost show where she acts as a psychic, and she actually sees legitimate ghosts. And she has, it doesn't really get into the logistics of how she makes her show work, but I think she gets ghosts to do stuff like, oh, I'm coming in here, and then like stuff will start moving, and it's like real ghosts, but
Yeah.
It's she has like a deal with them or something. But she can see real ghosts. And then but her daughter, Astrid, played by Jenna Ortega, does not believe in ghosts. And they have like this bad relationship. So there's like this that's what I'm saying when it comes to the characters, the movie is really driven by character
like the
interaction.
biggest issue with their relationship is, and the reason why she doesn't believe that in the ghost thing is because of her dad.
Yeah. So no spoiler really because it's a minor thing. Do you want to say it? You can go ahead and kind of lay that out.
Yeah, so her dad passed away in a accident too, and her mom could never see her dad, so she kind of resents her mom for that, and so that's the biggest part of their relationship, and really makes that dynamic just perfect the way it needs to be for this movie.
Yeah. On top of that, with these particular characters, is you do kind of have that, like a typical young adult, because she's in college now, so she's over 18. So it's like a typical young adult with typical young adult.
In art college, like her grandma.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. I didn't catch up on that. Okay. So, but you do have like the typical young adult dealing with the typical young adult things and not liking her mom. And it almost made it feel almost like a teenager thing, though, because usually kids get into college and then their relationships improve with their parents, but it's because of this. But so they have that kind of clashing and the whole thing. That's what I'm saying, is that for a lot of the movie there's not like we need to get a certain thing done. It's just these characters coming together and then they don't like each other, so they're dealing with, what am I going to do about my daughter? What am I going to do about this? Okay, and then mix that in with Delia Dietz, who's played by Catherine O'Hara. Just a reminder. So that is Lydia's mom. She's the grandma, and she is like this eccentric grandma. Now, I will say, in the first movie, you see that she is like maybe a little bit of a goofier lady, but here you can really see this character come alive as the weird grandma. Like she's more than just a little bit goofy. She's like a weird grandma, and that's fun. That was fun. I thought that was cool. Giving Catherine O'Hara, kind of getting her off the leash and letting her be a little bit goofy.
It was fun.
So anything else you want to say about the characters or acting?
No. Like, they did a really, really good job with the character backgrounds and how in depth they went with everything, and like I really enjoyed the character part of this very much. So
it almost feels like a little bit like, so it's you get drawn into the characters, you want to know more, you want to see what's going to happen with the little interesting situations they get themselves into, and that's a real credit to the writing, because you don't need to see a bunch of action or a bunch of explosions or a bunch of just whatever, different things. It's like the writing is the hook.
Yeah, you just want to enjoy the ride of watching this, just what's going to ensue with what's going on.
Like their lives unfold.
Yes.
Okay, so So like I said, the acting made this movie, and it was all done really well. Okay, so then we're gonna move on to the miscellaneous section, guys. Before we do that, check out this message from our sponsor.
Hi, it's Travis with Oscar Mike Radio. Oscar Mike Radio is a military and veterans podcast and show about those who serve our country and those who have served and are doing amazing things.
You know what? Let's take more. And then they had that fantastic
managing those logistics and getting things where they need to be on time.
I mean, come on.
Want to learn more? Want to follow the show? Go to OscarMikeRadio.com or the link below. We're Oscar Mike, and we're mission in flight. Thank you.
All right, so moving on to the miscellaneous section. So usually I have a bunch of stuff about in the miscellaneous section, I really didn't have a whole lot. I mean, I think that, obviously the production value, the costumes and stuff is really good. They really captured the spirit of the original when we go into the afterlife. We spend more time in the afterlife, which is nicer. Yep. I kind of mentioned that in the plot part where we talked about world building. We spend more time there. The one thing that I had, which a lot of people are going to be mentioning, so for people who don't know, so Charles Dietz, his character is in the movie. And I don't know, do you know about this story, Tommy?
What about him not supposed to be in it or something like that? What?
Yeah, do you know why? I haven't broken down, so I'm going to say this, but do you know what it is? Okay, so Jeffrey Jones is still alive. He could have come back,
Yeah.
But basically, Charles Dietz, the character, is played by Jeffrey Jones, and he is not in the movie. So he's in the movie, but Jeffrey Jones is not. So the character he dies, and he's headless in the movie.
Yeah.
Because however you died, you're like that in the afterlife. So if you have like a rebar, bar stuck through your head because you got into a car accident and whatever, then when you walk around the afterlife, you're gonna have this. You're gonna have like a bar in your head and stuff. Okay, so so Jeffrey Jones's character Charles Dietz is dead and headless, and so they just voice him. And the reason that they did that, now I'm gonna. This is like official reporting. This is a quote. Oh, dang it, I don't have my source. But there's a bunch of sources that say exactly the same thing, okay? But basically what happened with Jeffrey Jones, and you can look this up online, I'm not quoting anyone in particular here, but they all say almost exactly the same little sentence I'm going to say to you here. The reason that he's not back is because he is a registered sex offender, and he pleaded no contest in 2003 to charges of possession of child pornography over his alleged hiring of a 14-year-old boy to pose for lewd photos. Okay, I'm reading that word for word just so that way you guys understand, like, that's what it is. And no speculation here. He was found to be a sex offender. So he basically got canceled. Now, I don't think that that's, like, canceling in the typical way, like, where it's like, you said a mean thing.
I like how they canceled him, but still was able to keep the character in there.
Yeah.
The way they did. So I like how they did this. Okay, that's good.
I think that was good. Now, I will say I'm not like a cancel guy. I'm a Christian. If somebody came out, if I'm a Christian, if somebody came out like trashing the Christian church, I wouldn't be, or whatever church I go to. I'm not going to get into that, but the church that I belong to, the church organization I belong to, I wouldn't be like, wow, now he made me angry, so no more work for him. No, I don't think that. But he's a public figure. He would be working with people who. He could be around kids. He could be around people who might be victims, could possibly be vulnerable to being victims of his. Thank you, Brian. Of his proclivities. So I think that it's appropriate to say, look, we're not going to work with you. This is a public. You're a public figure being in our movie, and it hurts our movie, so we're not going to hire you. I think that's okay. That's appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I just want to say that because I'm not a cancel culture guy, but I want to say that. Yeah, so that was like my one thing. I did really like you just said, I liked how they actually were able to get the character in. And because he has no head, he can still talk. But it's like, he's like, I'm trying to help me. I'm trying to find where am I right now? Okay, so they had another actor do it. It was great. It was fine. It made it made sense. Great. Yeah, it was an unfortunate situation, but they worked with the with what they had. So did you guys did you have anything else that you wanted to say?
Miscellaneous? Not really. No, like we covered it pretty well in the plot and everything. So
Just to reiterate, the costumes were really good here. Like the costumes, the set designs, they were really good. What didn't you like?
Well, I want to get to it once I get to my improves. I do have an improve that kind of pertains to that.
Okay. Well, we can talk about. So for me, Tommy Boy seems to have something he wants to mention. Improves, great. We're gonna hear him out there. I'm just especially like Danny DeVito. I like the way a lot of the characters looked here. Yeah. And I think that they did a good job with Michael Keaton too, bringing him back and making it look like he didn't age so terribly. Obviously, he is older. But Okay, so Tommy Boy's going to have his opinions, and I want to hear what they are. So we will move on then into our final statement of review scores. Before we do that, guys, check out the message from this sponsor.
My name is Stephen Russell. My co-writer, Joseph Miles Pittman, and I would like you to imagine a graphic narrative that disrupts the superhero genre's conventional boundaries. Tales of Nihilism unfolds a thought-provoking anthology with diverse story formats from succinct comic strips to multi-saga issues. But at its core, the Ballad of Philip Kirshner explores existential challenges of an ordinary man in a world inundated with superheroes. The anthology challenges prevailing hero worship narratives, diving deep into societal introspection. We invite readers to confront uncomfortable truths about our culture's obsession with saviors and question the prevailing societal structures. The series is not just a comic, but an invitation to contemplate, challenging readers to reassess their perspectives on heroism and societal norms. It's an opportunity to offer audiences a fresh, introspective take on the superhero universe, sparking conversations, reflections on the human condition. You can find the series digitally on Global Comics, or follow the links below to get your own physical issue.
All right, so we are moving into our final statement of review score. Tommy Boy cannot hold it together. So just so you guys know, when I'm actually filming this, we don't actually go to a break. This is one big long recording. So what actually happens is I say, "Here's our sponsor," and then we sit here like this for a second.
And
Tommy Boy and Tommy Boy cannot hold it together. Okay. So anyway, though, moving on to the final statement and review score here. So we're going to start off. This is an after action review. So we do our sustains and our improves, and then we have our 5-tiered system. So we have excellent, which is like Shawshank Redemption, movies that make you rethink your life. Go home and rethink your life. Then we have above average, which is like really good movie. You'd watch it 100 times. Is it excellent? No, but it is really good and it's fun. Then we have average, which is, a TV movie. It's good. That's fine. Average is still a good movie. It's just not, it's kind of boilerplate. And then we have below average, which is like, come on. Like I could watch this, but I don't want to watch it. or I could find something better. Definitely. And then we have bad. And then we have a reverse scale for excellent, bad, excellent, bad, above average. But anyway, that's for when its movies are so bad it's good. But bad is like the Marvels. Yeah. Alec Baldwin's career since he shot that lady in.
Oh my gosh.
Jeffrey Jones since 2003. It's been bad. Yeah. No. Okay. No. Come on. All right. So So do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I can go first.
Okay. So sustains or improves?
So start with my sustains.
All right. First sustain.
The cast and acting was absolutely flawless. I love that they brought back pretty much everybody. Everybody except for the original Ghost. But since they brought it back, it just brought back the true joyous experience from the original movie, and it was great. Loved it so freaking much. Another one was there was 2 song solos with Beetlejuice, and this is what I was talking about earlier. I loved some of the music in this, especially these song solos. One of them was the love song, which I listened to so many times when I was a kid. So I loved the love song, and then the wedding song was just it was hilarious. Loved it so much. So yeah, the 2 song solos was phenomenal. And just the comedy and just with what William Dafoe brought with us too, just so much extra joy from this movie. Loved it.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Improves. I had Beetlejuice's makeup.
You didn't like
I
it?
didn't.
Okay.
There was something about it. Like, I don't know. It's like you can kind of see the neckline, and I watched the original after I watched this. And I was like, I just wanted to kind of compare. Like, yeah, like he was, even in the picture, he's actually more painted up than he was in the movie. I swear, like it was just his face that was painted in this movie.
Like you're saying, you could see his skin.
Yeah, you can see his skin and everything. So like the paint was just the face. Like I felt they didn't do enough with the makeup.
Okay.
But costumes wise, yes, costumes and everything else was phenomenal in this movie. I do like that. It was just his makeup.
Yeah.
I kind of put the sporadic and fast paced. So yeah, this movie is very, very fast paced and kind of sporadic. You just kind of going with the punches on this movie.
Okay.
That could kind of go either way. Like the story was still perfect, other than my next improve, which was Monica Bellucci. What was the point of her? If they did have extra cut scenes that they took out of her, like she was pretty pointless in this movie. She did bring extra to it, being his, I can say it like his wife.
Yeah.
And like keeping him on his toes and scared to death of her. Like and some of the quips that he had to talk about her was hilarious. It was great. But yeah, I wish there was more with her. Like there could have been more interactions, but yeah, there really wasn't. Not as many as I wish there was.
Yeah.
But overall, like it was a very, very well done movie. And like we talked about how there's more world building with the afterlife, and like it was phenomenal. I would give it above average.
Okay, excellent. Okay, above average. Sorry, I just say excellent for everything whenever I like something that somebody says. So I'm like, oh, excellent. Okay, no, okay, so above average. All right, so okay, so then hopping into mine. So I have 3 sustains and basically 1 improve. So the sustains here is act. Well, okay, so I guess I have two sustains and 1 improve. So the sustains here is the acting. Just like you said, the acting, Jenna Ortega's doing really great in Hollywood now. She's kind of a rising star. She's on fire, man. And then kind of going along with the acting, and this would have been my 3rd sustain, but it kind of goes along with acting, so I guess you can kind of count it as 1, is the character of Beetlejuice. Like the concept, and it only really works because it's a sequel. It really only works with the original actor. Like I don't know what they're gonna do when Michael Keaton dies, but it's a crazy character with amazing powers, and that concept isn't used a whole lot, but it was very effective here, and it's kind of like The Mask. Or even to a lesser extent, Deadpool. Like the way that this character, he almost has like reality bending powers, where he can almost do anything. Oh, really? And he's just like a wacky. That's what those are that's The Mask. That's Beetlejuice.
The Beetlejuice baby. Oh my god.
Are you talking about The Mask baby?
No, the Beetlejuice baby in this. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Just like The Mask baby. Yeah. So
The Mask baby.
Just like so there's the character is pretty cool and a very interesting concept and acted out so well. I thought that was cool. My second sustain was the world. We're developing this world. It would be cool. I don't think it would really ever. I don't know how they would make it work, and I don't think it'll ever happen. But it would kind of be cool to see a series where they go about in the just the afterlife. They had an animated series when I was a kid, and I'm pretty sure it did pretty well, but I don't think it was her. It wasn't Winona Ryder's character and Beetlejuice in the afterlife. It was them in the normal world, but I never really watched it that much. I just remember that it was a thing.
I own it.
Oh, the whole series? How many seasons?
Oh, it's 3 seasons.
Okay, so it must have done pretty good then. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you give it a thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down?
Middle.
Okay.
I haven't watched it all yet, but yeah.
So far, okay, good. Yeah, but it would be cool to see like a live action, or maybe animated. But I think live action would be better. But just where it's just like two ghosts, and they're just like living in the afterlife, living their lives, and there's all this weird, goofy stuff that happens all the time. It'd be an interesting idea. I don't know. I don't think they would be able to make it work. I don't think it'll happen. But it's just an interesting concept. Okay, and then my improves. I really only had one. Basically, wasted potential for unused plot lines. There's a couple of things that they did here, but the biggest one, and Tommy Boy said it as well, is Monica Bellucci, her character. So, slight spoiler, you do hear it right away in the beginning of the movie. Beetlejuice's ex-wife is Monica Bellucci, and she has some things that make her upset with him, but it doesn't really have any impact on exactly what's going on, and it's kind of a wasted thing. Yeah, and I hope that I hope that they do a director's cut and we find out that they had a plan that was more than just paying a bunch of money for Monica Bellucci to then do what she does in this movie. Which doesn't go anywhere. So that's like I really only had that one improve. I didn't have the problems with the makeup or anything. I actually really liked most of it. I mean, So now getting into my final review score, I will say, like, was it excellent? No. I didn't have a lot of improves, but I don't think that, I didn't have a lot of improves, okay? But it didn't change my life. It wasn't like, made me rethink what comedy could be or anything. I think it was really fun, really well made, definitely a movie that I would sit down and watch again. Ad infinitum, but I'm not like contemplating life as I used to see it now that I've seen this movie. So I would give this one, really actually 2 thumbs way up, right? Above average. I think that's right where it lands. So I was really happy with this. I'm glad that they did it. It would be cool to see them do a third one and call it Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Be awesome.
And have them do some interesting stuff with the character.
Yeah, especially the plot that we were kind of talking about towards that.
Basically.
I think it'd be really fun. It'd be really fun.
Yeah, just real quick, Tommy Boy and I were saying that, like, so Beetlejuice was the first one, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice is the second one. Beetlejuice 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 is what you say when you free Beetlejuice. It would kind of be a cool thing to have everybody come back and then Beetlejuice develop as a character into a guy who maybe starts off and we follow him more. And he starts off as being kind of a bad guy, but then maybe sees the light a little bit, becomes kind of a good guy, and then by the end of the movie, he gets free. And that's the point of Beetlejuice.
And he did a few good guy things in this, so like, the potential.
That's what I'm saying. We could go with that. Yeah. But otherwise, guys, above average. We're both agreeing on this one. So, that's all we've got for this one today, though. We do want to thank you all for watching. And just say, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe and everything. But also just thank you one last time and say, God bless you all. And have a good day. Don't forget to check me out on Twitch and join the Discord where you can voice chat with me while I live stream and you won't be recorded or anything on YouTube and Twitch, so that's pretty cool. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. If you like to read, you can see my after action reports on my blog. And if you are interested, you can get some merch from my spring store. The links for everything are in the description below.